I'll start by just giving you a little bit of my history. I was born in Charlotte, North Carolina, to a teen mom. She was 16, and I lived with my mom and my stepdad, and it was a very turbulent situation, turbulent household. We often saw our mom have guns cocked to her head and would be screaming for her life. We would be screaming for her life and asking my stepdad not to kill our mom. So I grew up really, really scary, and my father didn't claim me as a child, so I didn't have my biological father in my life. And how many of us know that when we don't have that male energy, we look for it in boys? And that's what I did, was very promiscuous, had a daughter at 16 years old, which makes me a young grandmother, because she's now a mom. And I had another daughter at 19. So in doing that, running the world fast, as they say, and doing everything that I shouldn't have done, I went through a lot of turbulent times. And how many of us understand that when we see abuse, we either become the abuser, we become a survivor of abuse, which I consider myself, or we become the victim, and the victims do not survive. So I became a survivor because I ended up in a very abusive relationship where his MO was to choke me out, to belittle me, to call me out of my name. So I didn't love myself. I didn't love myself growing up. A lot of times when we don't have our fathers as well, we take on the responsibility and feel like it's our fault. The reason why he's not showing up or didn't show up or didn't claim me is because of me. So I grew up very much an insecure child, and became a very insecure woman, of course, and married an entertainer. And we were very young, left that marriage with a lot of anger and bitterness, and ended up, that manifested into an illness because I ended up with Graves' disease, which is a thyroid disease, and that is the butterfly-shaped gland in your throat. And it's called hyperthyroidism, so everything speeds up your heart rate. I would wake up, my heart rate would be like 150, and I was asleep. So I lost a lot of weight, became very, very sick, and I would get what you call thyroid storms. So it would be these fevers that would be 104, 105, and they would come routinely every 2 weeks. In the midst of that, became a vegetarian, a very unhealthy vegetarian, because I ate a lot of soy. And a lot of us don't understand that soy is estrogen. So it manifested tumors in my body. So I almost lost my life. I had to be cut from hip to hip 3 times, 3 years in a row. I lost my womb, and the fevers would be so bad that it was so debilitating. Like my 6-year-old would be trying to walk me to the bathroom. Sometimes I wouldn't even make it. I couldn't keep anything down. I was 128 pounds, and that is very, very small for me because I'm 5'7". So 128 pounds, you can see all of the bones in my neck. I would go to the doctor, and they would constantly say, because your thyroid is overactive, you're probably going to go into kidney failure, because by this time the tumor had grown bigger than my heart. So it sat on my right kidney, and my left kidney had to overcompensate. So as my left kidney got smaller, my right kidney got bigger. So the doctor would tell me every week I would have to go, and he would say, well, you're probably going to kidney failure. It's amazing how man feels like they have that much power over your life that they can tell you what your destiny's gonna be. But I knew different, but not right away. I was really listening to them. So every week I'd get in the car and I would cry. And I remember before I got sick, I was listening to Ricky Smiley in the morning. You guys listen to the inspirational thing that he does with Pastor Hines? And so I remember one morning praying and speaking in tongues, and I could hear God saying to me, No matter how bad things get, stand on my promises. And I didn't understand what that meant at the time. And I grew up in church, a small church. Everybody spoke in tongues. Other people would, let you know what God is saying to you. But it never happened to me. But this particular morning, I will never forget. I was sitting in the driveway of my house. And he said, stand on my promises. What you have now is nothing compared to where I'm about to take you. And one day I was sitting in the car after one of the doctor's visits, and I was bawling. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna live. What are my kids gonna do? I was afraid. And just as clear as I'm talking to you, I could hear a voice saying, are you gonna listen to the word of man, or are you going to stand on my promises? It was like a light bulb went off. What am I doing? Before I even knew this was a problem, God had already went before me and taken care of it. So from that day forward, I started saying thank you. I would get the fevers, shaking, scared, not knowing if this time I'm gonna fall asleep. And I was little, to the point where family stopped coming because they didn't want to see me in this condition. Not that they didn't love me. It was hard to watch. When you're the strong person in the family, you take care of everybody, financially take care of everybody, cook every day and do everything. It's hard to watch someone you love dying. And every time I would get sick, I would just keep saying thank you. Because I knew even if this was going to take me out, so many people were going to be changed by it, including my children. So I remember saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, every single time I would be ill, sick, or scared. Until one day I woke up and I was saying, thank you for my healing, because God had healed my body along with gratitude. So that's one of the biggest lessons that I teach people, is to be grateful. Stay in a state of gratitude, especially when things are at their hardest. If you think back on your life, there's not too much you can point to say, I never got past it. This too shall pass. It always, always does. And when we learn to say thank you in the midst of that, it blesses us even more. It opens our life up for blessings. People want, but they're not thankful for what they have at this very moment in time. And it's not easy to do. Of course, I'm sitting here, it's like, okay, yeah, that's great, it sounds good, but it works. Trust me, it really, really works. So I've dedicated my life to helping women live their best lives. So I'm a life coach now, which I absolutely love. And I have an event, like she was saying, called Amazing Me, Amazing Life. And it's a women's retreat where the women come spend the weekend with me. My last one was an overnight retreat. The women did not want to leave me. And so I expanded it to a weekend. So they come in on Friday and we have fun, but we feed your soul. We deal with, this year we'll be dealing with letting go. Because a lot of times it's very hard. You can go through a divorce, a breakup, but still hold on to it. And hold on to that anger and hold on to that disappointment. I mean, one of my biggest, I think my hardest things I've ever done in my life was to really let go and understand that God forgave me. I just felt like I let God down when I divorced. And that was a very, very hard thing for me, because I do wake up with the intention every morning of pleasing God. And I fall short now, I'm human. So I'm not always good at it, but I try my best and I wake up with that. So leaving a marriage, I just felt like I totally failed him. But I understood after the fact that he is a God of forgiveness, and I did my absolute best within that union. And so really just forgiving yourself is another thing that I really preach a lot, and that's one of the things that we're going to deal with at the weekend retreat. So on top of us feeding your soul and having these amazing speakers and amazing chefs and celebrity chefs and DJs and all this stuff, your pamper services are included. We really get to the meat of what's going on with you. And the last time I oversold, it was like 80 women in one house, and it was hard to get to everybody. So I lessened the number this year so we could really heal. And it's really about healing. And a lot of people want to know, oh, how do I become the best entrepreneur? How do I get this money? But you have to start with the core of you. Everything starts at your core. And the reason that I allow myself to get into these toxic relationships was because I didn't love myself. So I settled. And so I let women know, you do not have to settle. You deserve God's absolute best for you. And He will give you that. It's about being patient, being strong, and just trusting Him. He wants to know that we really, really trust Him. So if you guys have the opportunity, I would love for you to attend my event. We are on Eventbrite. My website is ChristinaSJohnson.com. You can go on the website for more information. We have a promo code that we're using. It's called Amazing Life. So if you go on Eventbrite and put in Amazing Life, you get a discount, VIP swag bag, and VIP also includes personal time with me. So I would love if you would join me. I love you guys, and there's nothing you can do about it.